Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a Path of the Zealot Barbarian build in Baldur's Gate 3. This is part of the 5e Barbarian Subclass combined mod made by Sumradagnoth, and it comes with a lot of really fun abilities here, like the ability to add radiant or necrotic damage to your attacks, free reviving yourself, and you can also re-roll some saving throws and much more, which we'll get into in this video. So this will be a level 20 build, but you can also do this at level 12 if you prefer. Now, with this, we get obviously our unarmored defense, so having high constitution is important. Our main stats are the top three ones here, so we're going to roll with something like this can work well. However, the best way to optimize this is using the constitution amulet, which will give us this +6 to our armor class, so you can actually dump constitution, but otherwise you could go with this or put the points into a spread of 16 constitution and 14 dexterity, but dexterity will add to our armor class, so it's also very useful. If you're going to dump your constitution, put those points into wisdom to help out with wisdom saves, which are one of the barbarian's worst nemesis. Now, we also get to choose skill proficiency. Intimidation is going to be one of the skills that we use. Athletics is nice as well, so we'll roll with that. Level 2 gives us our danger sense, so advantage on dexterity saving throws against traps, spells, and services. So things like fireball and lightning bolt are going to have, we'll have advantage on our saving throw. And we also use a reckless attack there. If we miss an attack, we can turn it into advantage to give ourselves another roll and potentially make a hit. Now, here is when we get to choose our subclass. We'll go with the Zealot. Now, this is pronounced Zealot. I've gotten people telling me it's Zealot. It's Zealot. Look it up. Some deities inspire their followers to pitch themselves into a ferocious battle fury. These barbarians are zealots, warriors that channel their rage into a powerful display of divine power. So you get to choose the Divine Fury here. So this will give you additional 2 to 7 radiant damage whenever we rage on the first hit of our turn. So this is only on the very first attack. Radiant damage is straight up just going to be the better option. Necrotic is often resisted. Just be mindful if you're going to use this subclass, there are the Radiant Retort. So if you're fighting the Sharans or Raphael, he can kind of mess you up with that. You also get to choose a deity here. So this is entirely up to you for your own roleplay purposes. If you want to be a Zealot of Merkel, you can go right ahead there. You can be unaligned, you can go for Vlakith, really your choice. Karl Glittergold if you'd like. I'm playing as Dirge, so I'm just going to go with Ball because I just think that's funny. But again, personal preference there, not really a big deal. Level 4 will give us our first feat. Now, this is where things get a little interesting because there's a lot of ways we can build around a Barbarian. Tough is going to be a really good feat. This will give you additional 2 health points for every level that you gain. If we're doing level 20, it's extra 40 health. If level 12, it's 24 extra health. That just gives you more of a resource to stay alive, and we like that. We also get those free revives as mentioned. You can also go with Tavern Brawler if you want to do some throwing shenanigans. Nyrulna is still a really great weapon, even though we're not throwing build, not a throwing build per se. It's still an option. It's probably one of the better options out there, just with how powerful Nyrulna and Tavern Brawler both are. Alerts is another good feat. Getting the +5 to initiative means you're going to stay alive longer, so that's honestly not a bad choice to go with just for the overall survivability, and I feel like a Barbarian should be alert, so we'll roll with that. Level 5, extra attack, great, and also the fast movement speed. So if we're not wearing heavy armor, we get an increased 3 meters of movement speed. We like that. Level 6 gives us our subclass feature, Fanatical Focus. When you fail a saving throw while raging, you can re-roll it. And you must use the new reroll. You can only use this once per rage. This is kind of like the Indomitable feature, level 9 fighter. So that's kind of nice, although it's once per rage instead of being per long rest. So that's a little bit better. Level 7 gives us our Feral Instinct, +3 to initiative, and can't be surprised. Again, we're going first now. Level 8 will give us another feat. At this point, again, the tough feat is really good. Just the extra health means a lot. Tavern Brawler is always a good choice. Savage Attacker can be good too to reroll your damage die and use a higher result. That's always not a bad choice. And an ability score improvement. Taking up your strength or your dexterity works well. If you're not using the Constitution amulet, also bringing up your Constitution works well. So I'm going to be using a strength potion to show the max strength of this. So we're going to go with the tough feat here, just give ourselves more survivability, and then we'll later increase our dexterity to get the highest armor class possible. Level 9, when you land a critical hit, you roll an additional critical hit die. It's great. Level 10, Zealous Presence. Up to 10 other creatures of your choice within 18 meters of you that hear you can gain advantage on attack rolls and saving throws until the start of your next turn. Pretty useful. Advantage on attack rolls and saving throws is crazy. So this is actually a really nice party buff, and it's only a bonus action. So actually really effective. So yeah, definitely want to use that often because it just buffs up the entire team quite a bit. Level 11 gives us our Relentless Rage. Once per short rest, if you drop to 0 health points while enraged, you gain 1 health point instead of being downed. And if you go down again and end up dying, you can get revivified, which we'll get to. It gets another subclass feature a little bit later on here. So people that go to only level 12 do miss out on one of the subclass features, just unfortunately how the class is wrote in D&D. At this level here, again, we got our options of Tavern Brawler, Savage Attacker, and I also like the option of going with a Dexterity increase. You can also go with a Strength increase there, but I'm going to use a Strength potion just to really show the maximum damage there, but one of these stats works well. Dexterity just gives us a better armor class for survivability's sake. Level 13 gives us an additional die on a critical hit, so we want to hit them crits because we can do a lot of damage with them. And level 14, here is our subclass feature as mentioned. Rage Beyond Death. When you drop to 0 health points when enraged, you regain 1 health point instead of being downed. You must make the death saving throws, and you suffer the normal effects of taking damage while at 0 health points. However, if you would die to a failed death saving throw, you don't die until your rage ends, and you only die if you still have 1 health point left. So, yeah, that's pretty nice. Just extra survivability, we are coming back up. Level 15, Persistent Rage. Rage is so fierce that you only fall unconscious or choose to end it, so you can rage endlessly here at level 15. That's not from the subclass itself, it's just from the level 20 mod. And we get another feat at level 16 here. This is when we can take our dexterity all the way up. This is going to give us peak survivability with high constitution, high dexterity, high strength, high critical hits, lots of health to work with. Brutal critical 3, tripled the extra die. We also get a rage charge here. And at level 17, this is when we can go with, there's a good option of adding the Rogue Thief. I'm just going to keep it a pure class build, although the Rogue Thief is a nice addition, or the Gloomstalker Ranger, or the Fighter for the action surge ability. I don't want to dilute it too much, but those are really great options as well. Level 19 gives us one more feat here, so you can go with an increase to any of your stats there. I like the Savage Attacker feat, just re-rolling damage die is really nice to go with, so that's what we'll roll with, but you can go again with Tavern Brawler too if you'd like, or anything else there. And level 20, Infinite Rage. You can now rage as much as you want. You're going to see we get a lot of rage charges here, as yeah, once you get to level 20, you get 99 rage charges per the subclass. So all we really can do is rage and use our Zealous Presence, but it's pretty strong, and I would recommend using for weapons the Baldur and Giant Slayer. We can also use a shield to take our armor class up to 28 there with a +3 armor class shield. This is our 10 base AC, +5 from dexterity, +6 from constitution, +1 from ring of protection, +2 from the Vest of Soul Rejuvenation, and +1 from cloak protection. There's also, we could get a potential more +2 from the Wondrous Gloves, and then the Evasive Shoes. So that would put us up to, if we added the 2 there, 27, and then 30 with the shield. So you can get a crazy armor class, and then 32 with haste. Yeah, it's nuts. I'm also using the Horns of the Berserker, +2 to armor class, or +2 to attack rolls, and melee and unarmed attacks will deal additional 2 necrotic damage as long as you don't have your full health. And then if you didn't do any damage, you could take damage. Now, the Vest of Soul Rejuvenation, that's why I mentioned Tavern Brawler, because then you could do the unarmed strike and get that extra bonus from your strength here. And it also stacks from the Horns of the Berserker. Early game, Haste Helm is probably the best choice for increased movement speed, and then the Mask of Soul Perception is a good choice as well for increased attack rolls. Cloak Protection, really just use whatever you want here. The cloaks really are personal preference. I also have the Luminous Gloves on, so this will, whenever you deal radiant damage, the target receives 2 turns of Radiating Orbs, and Radiating Orbs are really good. You can also use the Luminous Armor if you want. It's medium armor, so you lose out on all the bonuses from our armor class, but yeah, it's your choice there. I think the Luminous Gloves just do enough, and then we also get the Boots of Stormy Clamor here, so Radiating Orbs is a condition, which will apply 2 turns of Reverberation, so we can knock the targets prone. And then we also got the Killer Sweetheart for a free crit, because critical hits hit hard with this. And I have the Ring of Protection here, although there's a lot of other choices, like the Crusher's Ring for increased movement speed, the Caustic Band, additional damage on your attack, so if you want to forego that, you can go with something like that. Ring of Free Action to ignore difficult terrain is also quite nice, and then you could also go with something like the Ring of Regeneration, just to up your overall healing on yourself, because we got 305 health. Mr. 305 in the building. We got a lot of health here. Pretty strong. And I also like to have the Hell Rider Longbow for that +3 to initiative and the Fairy Fire if you need to do a ranged attack. So yeah, before we get into combat, always make sure that you have your giant form on, because we're not a giant barbarian, but we can roleplay as one. As mentioned, we want to use our giant form here before we get into combat. And yeah, we do radiant damage on our first attack here, so we're just going to go in and make an attack. We got free crits there. We're not going to use that on this target. Extra radiant damage, didn't apply the Radiating Orb because it just took the target straight out. So yeah, that's actually the preferred way of doing things. And that was actually the acid damage. The radiant damage didn't really apply there. We can use the critical hit at any time, and the damage potential is crazy. 55 on that. Pretty nuts. So then we'll just go ahead attacking targets. And we have a high value target here that we want to take out, the mage. So you can use something like the top of the big folk here, which will give you additional damage on that attack. So that can be nice. Or you critically miss somehow and apply reverberation. Yeah, that is unfortunate because we just used up that attack, but we need to take this target out because otherwise they become a threat. 58, and yeah, it's pretty good. That was a solid first turn. I'm sad that we didn't get to use our reckless attack there, but then we can use our ability here to apply this to up to 10 targets, which will give them advantage on their saving throws and also on their attack rolls. So that can be pretty good, but we can't actually apply that onto ourselves. So just make sure that you buff up your entire team, and you do have 10 targets that you can apply that to. They got the inspired zealotry there. It was great. So yeah, it's not a bad first turn. If you're a Lithid, Psionic Dominance is huge because this can prevent you from getting hit with the worst spell for a Barbarian with Command. So then we can stop that from happening. And that does eat up our reaction we can use on that